A few weeks ago, many Americans couldn't have found Cape Verde on a map. Then a 40-year-old goalkeeper held Spain scoreless. Cape Verde nearly knocked out Argentina, and suddenly people were asking the same question. Where exactly is this place, and could Americans actually visit, move there, or retire there? I am Jeremy, originally from England, living in the United States for over 20 years. And today we are looking at two small nations that turned a World Cup moment into a geography lesson. First, Cape Verde, or Cabo Verde as it is properly known, and then Curacao, another tiny football nation with a very different island reality. Two remarkable stories, two Atlantic addresses, and one useful question. Are either of them actually worth your attention? Right, Cape Verde first. Cape Verde qualified for the 2026 World Cup for the first time in its history. A nation of just over 500,000 people, spread across 10 volcanic islands in the Atlantic, reached the most watched sporting event on Earth. That alone would have been enough. Then they drew 0-0 with Spain, drew 2-2 with Uruguay, and drew 0-0 with Saudi Arabia, and reached the knockout stage unbeaten. Then came Argentina, Lionel Messi, extra time, and a 3-2 defeat decided by an own goal. It was heartbreaking, heroic, and exactly the kind of performance that makes half the planet suddenly open Google Maps. So where is Cape Verde? It sits roughly 570 kilometers off the western coast of Senegal. It is an African nation, but not attached to mainland Africa. It is not the Caribbean, not the Canary Islands, and not one single beach resort with a national flag. It is a 10-island Atlantic archipelago with very different personalities. Getting there from the United States can still be awkward. There have been limited direct or near-direct services from places like Providence, but for many Americans, the normal route still means connecting through Lisbon or another European hub. From the East Coast, expect a long travel day. From the West Coast, prepare emotionally, spiritually, and possibly with snacks. The journey is part of the filter. Cape Verde does not accidentally collect casual weekenders from Ohio. And that matters because Cape Verde is not one island experience. Sal is the island most tourists meet first. It is flat, dry, windy, and built around beaches, resorts, Santa Maria, and kite surfing. If you want turquoise water, beach bars, and a fairly easy holiday, Sal does the job. If you want deep culture, do not stop there. Boa Vista is similar but quieter and more dramatic, with huge beaches and sand dunes. Praia de Santa Monica is the headline act. Miles of pale sand, Atlantic water, and far fewer people than a beach that beautiful usually has any right to offer. Santo Antão is the one that shocks people. It is mountainous, green and ridiculous in the best way. Think deep valleys, terraced hillsides, banana plants, sugarcane, hiking trails, and cliffs that look like someone designed them specifically to make drone pilots cry with happiness. Fogo is the volcanic drama. Pico do Fogo rises to nearly 2,800 meters. The island has been shaped by eruptions and people still grow coffee and wine in the volcanic soil. It is not a lazy beach holiday, it is a reminder that the earth occasionally likes to show off. São Vicente, especially Mindelo, is the cultural heart. Music, cafes, colonial architecture, and the legacy of Cesaria Evora give it a character the resort islands simply do not have. If I had to choose one island for atmosphere, this would be high on the list. Santiago is the largest island and home to Praia, the capital. It feels busier, more African, and more lived in. Cidade Velha, just outside Praia, is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and carries the heavy history of the Atlantic slave trade. Important, fascinating, and not exactly cocktail by the pool material. Now let us talk about the money, because this is Jetset Jeremy, and pretending everything is just beaches and vibes would be professionally irresponsible. Cape Verde is not Southeast Asia cheap, it sits in the middle. A local meal might cost $8 to $15. A beer could be $2 or $3. Guest houses might start around $20 or $30 a night, while international resorts can run well over $200. For monthly living, a careful single person might manage around $1,200 to $1,800 a month, while a couple should probably think closer to $2,000 to $2,500. Cheaper than many American cities, yes. Dirt cheap, no. Imported goods also push prices up, because islands do love making basic groceries feel like small luxury items. Entry rules need care. US citizens do not need a tourist visa for short visits of up to 30 days, but you still need the required registration and airport security fee. Longer stays or residency are a different conversation. Cape Verde does have residency routes, but requirements change. Paperwork is in Portuguese. And this is one of those moments where a local lawyer is less of a luxury and more of a sanity preservation device. Language matters too. Portuguese is official, but Cape Verde and Creole, or Crioulo, is what people actually speak day to day. English is common enough in tourist zones, especially on Sal, but do not expect it to carry you through every serious conversation. If you are planning more than a holiday, learning some Portuguese is not optional politeness, it is basic survival. Healthcare is the real retirement caution. Cape Verde has public healthcare, but it is limited. The main facilities are in Praia and Mindelo. Routine care is one thing. Complex surgery or specialist treatment can mean evacuation to Portugal. The country was certified malaria-free in 2024, which is genuinely impressive. But if you have serious ongoing medical needs, Cape Verde requires excellent international insurance and a realistic evacuation plan. Safety is generally a strength. Cape Verde is one of Africa's more stable democracies and is generally considered safe for visitors. Petty theft exists, especially around tourist areas, and Praia needs the normal city caution. But this is not a high-drama safety destination. The weather is warm and dry most of the year. The Saharan dust haze, known as the broom, can affect visibility, especially in winter. Island hopping is possible by small aircraft or ferry, but ferries can be rough and flights add up. So, is Cape Verde a retirement destination? For the right person, yes. Someone healthy, independent, patient, curious and comfortable being far from the United States could fall in love with it. For someone who needs instant medical access, easy flights home, English everywhere and a giant expat bubble, probably not. For a holiday though, it is absolutely worth the effort. Sal and Boa Vista for beaches, Santo Antão for hiking, Mindelo for culture, and Fogo for volcanic drama. You could spend 2 weeks there and feel as if you had visited several countries wearing the same passport stamp. And Cape Verde was not the only tiny place the World Cup suddenly put on the map. Let's talk about Curaçao. Curaçao sits in the southern Caribbean, about 40 miles off Venezuela, and is a constituent country of the Kingdom of the Netherlands. Population, roughly 150,000. Like Cape Verde, it reached the 2026 World Cup for the first time, which is absurd in the best possible way. It helped, of course, that the United States, Mexico and Canada qualified automatically as hosts, but that does not take away from Curaçao's achievement. A football nation the size of a medium American suburb made it to the biggest tournament in the world. For Americans, Curaçao is the easier island to understand. It has Dutch administration, Caribbean weather, excellent beaches, world-class diving and a much more developed tourism industry. Willemstad, the capital, is a UNESCO World Heritage Site famous for those brightly painted Dutch colonial buildings along the waterfront. It is one of the Caribbean's great postcard views, and for once the postcard is not lying. Logistically, Curaçao is much easier than Cape Verde. Flights from the US are shorter and more straightforward, especially through Miami and other East Coast hubs. English is widely spoken alongside Dutch, Spanish, and Papiamentu. The US dollar is widely accepted alongside the local currency, and US citizens can generally stay for up to 6 months per calendar year without a visa or permit. If you want to stay longer or work, then you are into residence permit territory. Healthcare is also stronger than Cape Verde's by regional standards, helped by the Dutch connection. Costs are broadly comparable to Cape Verde, sometimes higher for accommodation and imported goods, but it has a more established expat scene and a more familiar Caribbean rhythm. In other words, Curaçao is less mysterious, which is either a benefit or a disappointment depending on your personality. So the honest comparison is this. Curaçao is the more practical choice for most Americans. Easier flights, better English, stronger healthcare, more infrastructure, and less cultural friction. Cape Verde is the more adventurous choice. More remote, more surprising, more culturally distinct, and frankly more interesting if you are the kind of person who gets bored when everything is too easy. For retirement, Curaçao is probably the safer bet. For the person who wants a place that genuinely feels different every morning, Cape Verde has the magic. Now, speaking of getting to places that are not always simple, a quick word on Kiwi.com. If you are planning a route involving odd connections, stopovers, or island hopping, Kiwi can be useful because it mixes airlines and routings that standard booking sites may not show. For example, if you want to build a Lisbon stopover into a Cape Verde trip, or compare Caribbean combinations for Curaçao, it is worth checking. Just read the booking details carefully, especially when different airlines are involved, and make sure you understand what is protected if a connection goes wrong. The link is in the description below. Right, before we wrap up, if you found this useful, please hit the like button and subscribe to Jetset Jeremy. It helps get honest travel and relocation advice in front of people who need more than glossy beach footage and suspiciously cheerful hotel reviews. The next video should be on screen now or soon, and it should connect nicely with today's theme, so have a look after this. So there we have it. Two tiny nations, two remarkable World Cup stories. Cape Verde, volcanic, musical, remote and full of Atlantic character. Curaçao, colourful, practical Dutch Caribbean, and much easier for most Americans to reach. Both are worth your attention, whether you are planning a holiday or quietly wondering where the next chapter might be written. The world is bigger and more interesting than most people remember. Sometimes it just takes a football tournament to remind us. This has been Jetset Jeremy. Stay curious, stay adventurous, and for goodness sake, go somewhere interesting. Laters.